Hey everyone, it's Ivan, KitBadger.com, out here for another gear review, and today talking about pretty small, pretty cool little product by Emissary Development, which is this guy right here. It's their cable clip. We'll go ahead and start with the what and the why. What is it? It's a cable clip. Literally a piece that cables clip into. And that gets us into the why. Here's the thing, depending on how you set up your gun, may or may not need it. Both this light, with ideally probably a different tail cap, and most certainly the MAWL, you can have these set up to where you don't need any type of external switch. Like the switching on the MAWL is incredible. Depending on the tail cap, also great. But here's something I ran into. This right here is a 16-inch SR25. Chambered in .308 by Knight's Armament. Pretty cool gun. 16-inch barrel, I don't know, probably like a 15-inch rail, something along those lines. So, especially if I'm gonna shoot this suppressed, I wanna move everything as far forward as I can to include my light and my laser, because I will end up with, especially when the can is sticking out a fair bit, we'll end up with shadow coming off it. So I wanna try and reduce that. That said, push everything out. With that said, when I reach forward to basically activate this stuff, that is not a comfortable position, me extending my arm that far forward. And so, especially with an ultralight gun like this thing is such a pig, basically end up fatiguing out pretty soon. So that's where we run into things like these Unity Tactical hot buttons, or a tape switch, whatever it may be. Basically something wired into the light and laser. So in this instance, I can basically have this hand stop here, hand comes here, much more comfortable, easy to maintain position, and I have access to both my buttons. But they're wired, and therein lies the rub, because I've yet to see a company make a wire specifically the length you need it to run just to wherever it needs to go. Because usually it's universal, it's going to be like 6 inches, 8 inches, 4 inches, whatever it is. To include Unity Tactical, there's basically a set distance, the length of that wire. And if you don't have some way to manage that, you're just asking for that cable to get grabbed, and best case scenario, essentially get ripped out of the unit. Worst case, basically get torn off and actually destroy whatever type of switch it's connected to. We want to alleviate that. Ways to go about it, definitely Ranger bands, basically a big rubber band. Not very permanent solution, like the sun will eat them, and they do a decent job, but not as good of a job as maybe something designed for it. And while there are a number of different cable management things, I guess, out there, I've actually been really pleased with this one by Emissary Development. These cable clips are made out of a durable nylon polymer and attached to any M-LOK section. They use a countersunk T25 screw with all steel hardware, and recommended you go to about 10 inch-pounds. With all their different shapes, it allows you to easily route the cables depending on how and where you need them, so that it can get nice and low and alleviate any type of snag hazards. Of special note, while I do appreciate these switches on Surefire, they are kind of a weak link in that if this pulls out or gets loose, you then lose that switch for your light. With these, you can actually route the cable so that it comes up and is putting kind of torque, pressing this in, and alleviates any type of switch that is not super secure. Basically reinforces a strong connection right there. So what has been my experience on it? Largely ran it on this gun here, connected to this light and the MAWL by B. Meyers. They have done a great job. On the one hand, even just mundane stuff as far as pulling guns like in and out of bags, or for that matter, even a safe, and usually end up with a bunch of stuff in there. And if you don't have good management, whether it's cables or slings, just grabs on everything. And the last thing I want, Sling, like, okay, whatever. Cables, these things getting damaged, do not want that to happen. And just even any type of movement, whether it's over uneven terrain, moving through things, like I've definitely moved through the woods with this gun, and to include even up at the AMTAC shooting 3-day night vision course, there's some dynamic stuff going on there. And having everything really in nice and close just alleviates so many unforeseen problems that usually comes with things snagging on things. So whether it's just the mundane going in and out of bags, or like I said, moving through uneven terrain, thick wooded stuff, or honestly even moving through structures or anything like that. It's easy to go in a shoot house and be like, okay, cool, like everything's pretty good, and you're in like a generic vanilla structure. There's no obstacles, nothing like that. But once you start getting into more dynamic places, or for that matter, unconventional shooting positions where you're getting down really low up against something, trying to move past something, it becomes really, really important. And these cable clips have done a great job. If you have need for cable management, I would encourage you to check them out. You can get either 3-packs or 6-packs for, I believe, $28 and $48 respectively. They're really solid. Rather than trying to just tape, rubber band, something like that on there, really clean way to basically organize those cables on your gun. And pretty fair price point, I think. Overall, been really pleased with them. And if you appreciate my content and want to support it, I greatly appreciate it. Whether it's liking and sharing videos, or going over to kitbadger.com, picking up KBAT target pads, stickers, patches, things like that, or picking up shirts through Teespring or Ballistic Ink. And lastly, supporting me directly through Patreon. That stuff helps me go out, create more content for you. And if you have questions for me, happy to answer them. Over there on Patreon, we have active Discord. Happy to answer all those questions over there. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.